Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the Being Your Own CEO Success Circle. We get together because we like each other's company, we love experimenting together, and we learn a lot from each other. We share things among ourselves and learn from each other, and we do a little business together now and again as well. So welcome here, and as we normally do, we begin by doing some introductions. So I think I might start with my introduction just to get it out of the way. So I love supporting retired third agers who are experiencing overwhelm and uncertainty and procrastination as they take the first steps toward creating their own online business. With my solopreneur coaching service, you can choose the level of support that makes the most sense to you. Done by you, done with you, and done for you. To find out more, check out my website, which you can see on my screen above, LowellAnn.com. So there is my elevator pitch. And David, you were here first, so how would you like to go?
Hello, I'm Dave Flannery with Affordable Websites for Small Businesses. I'm at 815-440-0846 or awfsb.com, not AWSF. I think I've said it by video. Where I try to keep simple business, local business websites, build local. Yeah, okay. Anyway, it's cold and windy out today, raining, and I've got a lot of things on my mind, and doing my elevator pitch is not one of them. Sorry. So right now, Javita's in the chat. She says good day to all of us. And
greetings to Javita. Happy you're here. Yeah.
And we are streaming, and audio sounds good on YouTube and on the website.
Right
so,
on. Thank you. You.
All right. Back to you, LowellAnn.
Yeah. And Vivek, you were next.
Namaste. My name is Vivekananda. Literally, it means wisdom and happiness. I am proud to share my belief with Steve Jobs and Leonardo da Vinci, who said simplicity is the ultimate in sophistication. I aim to bring time-tested wisdom and happiness together into your business and life by unifying, simplifying, and amplifying simple technology and tools. Together at Wake, we wake up our potential. So that's my elevator pitch. I am in Reading, England, United Kingdom. The weather has been really nice today. It has been sunny all morning. It's in double digits. And yeah, I was, just before we started, I was doing some work on my car. I'm doing a bit of DIY on my car.
Aha.
So
do I DIY? Okay.
Do it yourself or destroy it yourself.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, well, and you reminded me that I forgot to say in my pitch that I'm in Victoria, British Columbia, and it has been raining all week. So it's still it's not raining, but it's gray. So I'm really ready for some sunshine. So Fred, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well, thank you, LowellAnn. I'm Fred Johns, the creator of Our Future Leaders, where we assist some of the young generation to gain leadership and communication skills, which will help them cope with all the challenges that our world is facing. So I'm located in Langford, next to Victoria. It's 8 degrees centigrade, according to
Ah,
the internet, and it's got light rain on and off so far today. And as LowellAnn said, it's cloudy, so we're looking forward to some sunshine. And if anybody has any person who's interested in learning how they can help children gain those leadership and communication skills, I'd be happy to hear from them, because I have lots of approaches and material that can help them work with young people. So
right on.
that's my sort of elevator pitch, thrown in and out of the weather report.
Well, your sound is better this week, so something has changed.
You said there's an update for Zoom. I tried to update it, and I'm going to do the latest update. I think that might help.
Yes, I think it does. Right
I think
on.
it's Zoom, because it's certainly not the internet. It's, it's got good signal, and when I test the speeds, upload and download speeds are good. So I think it might be Zoom.
Yeah.
Doesn't like something here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right on. And Alana, how are you doing this morning? How are things in Ireland?
Well, we finally, we finally have spring here, so I'm happy to report that spring is springing over here on this side of the pond. My name is Alana, coming to you from Ireland, and my company is ALB Digital Marketing Solutions, where I write content and copy to help small businesses increase sales and conversions. So I almost didn't make it because you guys on that side of the pond changed your time, but we didn't.
Right.
So it's not 5 hours ahead anymore. It's only 4. So it's not 8 hours. It's only 7.
Yeah.
Only this week, Alana.
Only for this week, right? Because this weekend we spring ahead as well. So I almost missed it today because of that. So I don't even know what made me think of it, but anyway. So anyway, here I am.
I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
And do you know that in British Columbia, there is a move on to not change times, and they're sort of waiting for the northern states, northwest states, to kind of follow, and they have apparently they have all decided they're going to do the same. They're just waiting for Congress to approve it.
I thought I heard that they did approve it and that it's going to be effective next year, starting in 2023.
Maybe. That was
So
I just said what I heard. So maybe you got something.
Probably, Alana, what you heard is the American.
Yeah, that's for the USA. Yeah, but they've been talking about that doing the same thing here in Ireland. So, I would imagine that since the US is doing it, we'll probably follow suit at some point.
Wow.
We're copycats.
Well, I must say I know a lot of people like their daylight to be at the end of the day. I like mine to be at the beginning of the day. So
It's all just a matter of adjusting your time.
yeah, I know.
I mean, if you like the beginning of the day, you get up at sunrise and go to bed at sunset or whatever, or you get less light in the winter. So we tried this once before in all the northern states. Everybody was up in arms because all the kids were going to school in the dark, and they were standing at bus stops in the dark. And
I know.
That's why why we switched back to daylight savings time instead of, or switch back to the normal time in the winter. And I'm the same way. Why are we changing times? We just adjust accordingly.
Yes.
If you want more light in the morning, then you talk to your company and you say, okay, or I'm going to start at 9 o'clock.
Right.
If you want more light in the evening, you talk to your company and say, I want to start at 7 o'clock instead of 9 o'clock. And if enough people talk, there's enough to get it to change, because there's companies here that do that during the summer. During the winter, they start at 8, and during the summer they start at 7, so that they can I mean, they even make it further than what daylight savings time is. So they get off at 3:00, 3:30 in the afternoon, and they've got from 3:30 to 9 of sunlight, and they're all happy because they can go golfing and fishing at the same time.
Well, let me tell you,
in one evening.
My experience from being in the north, in the Arctic North, is in the summertime, it never gets dark at all.
Yeah.
And we used to just love that because I mean, I can still see us coming home from work, grabbing a bit of supper and going canoeing for a while, for a few hours, and coming home and at a decent time and going to bed and getting up and whatever. So yeah, but of course the other end of that in the wintertime. But we used to love it when it was 24-hour daylight. Okay, so I'm glad everybody is here, and I have a presentation to help guide me more than support you, I think. And Vivek is going to share his screen and show the presentation, and we will work our way through it. And I am going to bring my my notes over so that I'm not looking off to the side. So welcome to how to merge two websites. And I have to acknowledge Vivek. I just I thought I was just gonna come and just sort of talk about the process and all the things, and Vivek said no. you need some slides. So some slides you get or I get. And of course, I left out the very first slide. That Vivek said, you got to have the why. So here it is. Why did I decide to merge two websites? Well, there was two things that were happening. I wanted to discover ways to increase the traffic to my website and my courses as well. I would like to earn a few dollars at least from those courses. And I knew that I needed to have some traffic in order for that to happen. So I started working with Jay, and that was the goal, was to figure out what to do. And of course, Jay felt that my stuff was too spread out. He felt that if we consolidated everything, it would have the effect of increasing my profile and therefore my traffic. So that is the only answer I can think of for why. So here we are on the slide, and I thought it would be a good idea to start at the beginning, and you can see that I started this in November of 2021. And I had beingyourown.ceo.com and LowellAnn.com, both of them hosted on the Wealthy Affiliate server. So Jay suggested the merge. He thought he felt as though everything was spread out too much. But he was there to provide the advice and support. And to start off with, the plan was to just create a new site rubrics site and pull all of the information into one site rubrics and fix it all up and make it look really nice, and then replace the site rubrics over into LowellAnn.com. And the plot thickens. So here we were. Site rubrics, we realized, and then somewhere in there we also had discussions around using how to do that, and we realized that the plugin that I was used to using for backups, if you did using all-in-one site migration, if you did that, you could do one, but then if you did the same thing on the next one, it would wipe out the first one. So anyway, so then we started talking about using FTP. We would need to use FTP. And I forget what FTP stands for. Does anybody
File Transfer Protocol.
Thank you very much. I knew you would know that. Anyway, so I did. I set up a site rubrics, and then we realized, oh no, WA does not allow FTP in site rubrics. So that was out. So then the next thought was, well, I'll just buy a new URL and create a new URL site on WA and do it there. However, for some reason, using FTP would not bring in all of the images. And we messed with Cute FTP and FileZilla back and forth, because we thought maybe the Cute FTP version that I have was really old. I've had it for a long time. So it was thought that maybe, Cute FTP, and I paid for it years ago, but maybe it was out of date. So then we tried messing around with this FileZilla, and neither one of them worked. They would not upload all of those images. So I'm saying that by this time it's around December the 13th, and I have a quote in my notes that says, "I seem to be getting nowhere fast." So what were we going to try next? Because we finally kind of surmised that even doing using FTP, that WA had some sort of a ceiling on how much you could do that way. So Jay said, well, let's see if we can use my personal server. So then I ended up buying another URL called LowellAnn.info. And so we set that up, and Jay actually did the import of the materials off of the two websites on WA. He imported those into his server and LowellAnn.info, and there were no with his server, there were no ceilings on anything, and so everything came together the way it should. So all of the posts, all the pages, and all the images, and by the way, there was about 300 images. One of my websites was really old. I've had it for a long time and maintained it for a long time. So we decided, we realized that I needed to do all of the work on Jay's server, and then we would go from there. So, so as you see from my screen, now the work really begins. So, so many details. Oh my word. So there were so I'm going to tell you about all the decisions that needed to be made right from the get-go. So what theme should I use? And I tried some things in the Generate Press library, but I eventually kind of just went back to the basic, because that's what I had been using on LowellAnn.com. But I am using Generate Blocks and the Pro, and it's the Pro version. So the next decision is, what should the front page look like? And that goes along with this, the various things that I was trying in the libraries. Should I do it this way and have this and this following this and so forth. And so that took quite a long time. My notes say here, and I'm really looking back on that and saying, I messed with this for way too long. In the end, I kept the look that I had in Being Your Own CEO. So the next decision was, what should the menu, how should the menu be configured? And as you might guess, there were a lot of duplicate pages. And so I had to decide which page to use out of, because, for example, there were 2 contact pages. Which one should I use? And when, and some of them, it wasn't just a matter of saying, okay, I'll just use all the pages that were on that one and get rid of that one, because some of them had details and things that I liked and wanted. So it was a question of integrating all of those pages, so that they said what I wanted, and getting rid of the superfluous ones. So that took a while. Then the next decision was, what should the new logo look like? And I didn't want what either one of them had. So away I went to Canva and created a new logo. So that took a while. And then, what images should be kept and which should be removed? And I might say there may still be some in there that need to be culled out, but it's tricky because some of them I had used on both websites. and a lot of them I only used on one. But then as I was culling out some old posts, maybe I don't need that image anymore, and so the coordination of that was a nightmare. So, and another decision that I needed to make was, what should I do with all those posts containing our previous success circles? And there were dozens and dozens and dozens of them, because I think I had the Being Your Own CEO website. That's what I created it for, was to host all of those success circles. So there were dozens and dozens of them. So the decision was made to keep only the most recent 4 success circles going forward. So anyway, as you can hear, every one of these decisions had a series of actions attached. And however, As time went on, I became way more comfortable using generate blocks. That was the that was the positive part. So now, and there's more. So there were some other things that needed to be done. These were not necessarily decisions, but there were things that needed to be taken care of. So as you can see, I had to make adjustments to the RSS feed, and I had to go into Aweber and make adjustments in there for the autoresponder. I had to make a few adjustments to make the chipmunk entry, because on my page there's a place where you can fill in a form and to join the success circle and all of that, and that is all accommodated by chipmunk. So I had to go in and make some adjustments to that. I had to review all the tags and categories because there were duplicates, and I had to make sure that I organized it and made it make sense. I'm still not sure that it couldn't be sort of reduced down more, but so far so good. I had to ensure that PayPal and Stripe were still working because I have a course that is a paid-for course, and so I had to go in and make sure all of the links out of both of those that went in the right way. And then I needed to learn something about making use of elements, and this is something that Jay covers quite frequently in some of his webinars. But I've come to really appreciate the value of those elements, and so I made use of elements for a blog footer that goes into every blog, and there's a way to organize that so it only goes into blogs and only goes into certain blogs. And I also made use of elements to add a subscribe form that sends, if somebody wants to subscribe to the site, that they're able to fill that in and so forth. So elements was really is really useful. I had to evaluate all the plugins, and I started off with 18 on LowellAnn.com and 21 on Being Your Own CEO. 39 plugins to review. Now, there were some duplications, of course, but I really needed to go in and, give those a great deal of thought, because we all know the fewer plugins you're using, the more efficient your website is, and the faster load, etc. And then I had to ensure all posts and pages are shown in the blocks way and not the classic WP, because those pages were just imported, and especially LowellAnn.com, everything was done using classic, and quite a lot of what was in Being Your Own CEO was done in classic. So I needed to go in and make sure that every one of those pages and posts were showing up in the block editor. So that was a whole lot more that needed to happen. So now, what about all those pages and posts? What else what should I do about them? What did I need to do about them? Well, I reviewed most of them, in fact all of them, more than once actually. So I neglected to count how many there were to start with, but what I ended up with was 116 blogs and 71 pages. And the reason there are so many pages is because I have 5 courses on there, and each one of those courses is a page, has a page. So that tells you, there was a lot to do. So I needed to be looking at on all of the blogs. I needed to be looking at the internal links and all of the external links. And as we all know, that we've all learned that if you're posting a blog, you need to have one of each, an internal and an external link. And that encourages Google to recognize your post more. I had to make sure that all of the information in each thing was up to date, especially the blogs, because they, some of them were based on kind of an old reality. Or old technology. For example, I went back and I found Hangouts mentioned a gazillion places. Well, we know there are no longer any Hangouts. So I had to go in and make sure that was taken care of. So then again, for each one of those posts, I needed to make sure that the correct tag and the correct category was used. And I was using categories to help determine what gets shown, how, etc. So I had to make sure that those were all correct. And the same went for featured images. Did they look right for that page or post, or the post especially? And what about internal images? Did they make sense? And how did that all work? So there was a lot of work to be done there. But it was good work to do, I have to say, because you don't want outdated information on your site. So this really forced the issue. I really had to go back and think that through very carefully. So, but it was a lot of work. Now, what about the courses? How am I going to present them? I had to think that through. So now there are 5 courses. And previously, there were 3 business courses on the Being Your Own CEO. There was one on LowellAnn.com, and there was one that was done as a drip campaign through the autoresponder. So I chose to show them all on the website. I moved the I took the autoresponder away and made it into a course on there. So then I had to make a decision about how to show them. At one time I had one landing page that had the 3 business courses. Well, that was creating too many clicks for people. So I ended up showing them, having a menu item that was called services, and then putting it under courses so that all the courses were there and easy to find. So it's a question of, making the navigation really efficient. So, another little upgrade was something that Jay suggested, was I decided to use an upper menu, a top menu, so that I could put the titles and links to those courses. They're all on that menu, which shows up on every page. So, and of course, this whole exercise meant that I needed to update and change things on all of the landing pages that went with the courses. So, but I think again, it's always a really good idea to look at the navigation of your website and making sure that it is efficient and efficient from the viewer's perspective, not yours. So that was definitely worth doing. And then there was another dilemma. And this one had to do with what to do about social media. So the fact that I was only going to keep the last four, the four most recent blog posts or Success Circle posts, I needed to figure out going to Pinterest and Keen and Google My Business. Those are the three main ones that I was using, because all three of those allow you to put a link back to your own website. So the question now becomes, how do I handle those so that they go back to something that will give them what they're looking for, but still allowed me to get only keep the four most recent blog posts for Success Circles there. So both David and Vivek helped me create an archive page, and that makes the link. So when I go to Keen, for example, when I put a link in there, the link takes you to an archive page, which was set up so that the person could find what they were looking for. And that archive page was done using anchors. And that was a technology I knew absolutely nothing about. And so I think, David, you were the one that suggested it, but I know that Vivek was in there helping it at one stage of the game as well. And so at one stage somewhere, I need to take that link and put that link down in our chat, because I'm going to need to be able to go and find that when we go further. So now I've lost my page that I was looking at. Where did that go? Ah, dear. There it is. So I'll be able to show you that. It might, when you see it, it might make a little bit more sense than my description of it here, I think. So having done all of those things, now it was time to go live as LowellAnn.com. So this means that I needed to move my stuff away from Jay's server back into WA, where my LowellAnn.com was, where that URL was, that site. Now this was pretty easy to do because I only had one thing to transfer. So it was pretty easy to do with all-in-one WordPress migration. So that was not a big deal. Then we needed to do redirects. We had to find some way to redirect everything, that being your own CEO, so that it would all point over to LowellAnn.com. So we did that using all-in-one SEO. And there were also a few steps within WA, Wealthy Affiliate, where I needed to do some redirecting in there. So we took care of that. And then we had to go back to Google Analytics and Google Console and Bing and do a validation. And I must say, I mean, we did it, but it seemed to take several weeks before the results of all that showed up in the way that it should. But it did eventually. So, am I finished yet? Well, and I might say the last time Jay and I talked about LowellAnn.com was February the 14th. So November, December, January, February, 4 months it took. The question is, could I create a new site faster, a brand new site faster? Well, yeah, I could. However, if I did that, I would have lost all of those blogs, over 115 of them. A lot of them have really valuable comments, etc. I would have lost all of that. And by doing things the way we did, all of that Google juice with all those comments and all of that was retained. And that was really necessary to do. So, however, am I finished yet? Well, just yesterday, I noticed 2 items that needed changing that I had missed somehow. Will this ever end? I'm sure I've missed a few more. So, will it ever end? I don't think so. I just need also to say, I just know I could not have accomplished all of this without Jay's help, and also the help of my friends, David and Vivek. I just know that. So now, we're going to. I mean, I've explained all of this, but somehow it does help to sort of see things. So I'm sort of guessing that you would like to see the finished product. Finished, I say, mainly. So I'm happy to provide a guided tour and to answer your questions, any questions that you might have. So we will just get rid of this. And before we open the website, are there any questions that arise in your mind right at this point? I figured you would have a few, Alana.
So I have a big question. You ready? So knowing what you know now, what would you have done differently?
I'm not sure I would do anything differently, and I'll tell you the reason is that with all of those steps and things that were done, I learned an incredible amount. So I'm not sure. I mean, I suppose if I were going to do it again, which I'm probably not going to do it again, but just to let you know, like I mean, I look after a website. I created and look after a website for Victoria Chinatown Care. And it was all done in Classic, etc. And as I'm doing my updates and adding things and doing all the things that I need to do there, I know that, and I think I did that website a couple of years ago, it's time for me to at least create another site rubrics, move all that detail over, clean it all up, modernize it according to blocks and all of that, and move it back. So, I mean, in terms of doing work for clients, that all of those steps, all of those things were. I mean, I can't. I couldn't possibly let you know all the things I learned. So I don't think I would do. I would would go back and do it over again. However, would I take on merging two sites for a client? Not without some support. I don't think it was. I mean, Jay knows it inside out and backwards.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he was the obvious person to help me with that. Yeah. Dave.
Number one question, you said you use Generate Blocks, but you also use Generate Press also, correct? As your theme?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. I posted that in the in YouTube chat, and I wanted to make sure that that was correct.
Yeah. I used the blocks, but I'm using the pro version of Generate Press. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you using the pro version of Generate Blocks?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. I figured as much.
That's
they go hand in hand, and when I build when I build in the block editor, that's what I use is Generate Press and Generate Blocks. I've got the unlimited versions and both of them. So and whatnot.
And I don't. I mean, here's one thing that I don't know the answer to, but I mean, I think that elements that I mentioned is something that, excuse me, is unique to Generate Press. I believe it is, but I'm not certain of that.
You would have to pay. There's similar things. The syntax is probably different, but they're all professional or pro versions of a theme. You will not find that in a free theme. You would find it in a pro theme. Yeah. I've seen kind of some of that stuff. The other question I got: have you started seeing more visitors to your site?
Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah. That's the ultimate goal, and it's
that was the reason I was doing
it. For all that work, I really hope you were getting more visitors. Javita's asked a question. I want to ask I want to ask about contact page. I think you should be creating a new contact page for your new domain. Am I correct?
The contact page, it was on the new domain. Yeah.
Okay. She thought that it needed to be updated.
No. I mean, the actual information that's on the contact page didn't need to be changed, but I had two of them. So I had to decide which one, the visual aspect, which one should I keep, and did I need to do anything different on them? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else before we? Vivek is going to open my share the screen, and show the website. So just beginning at the top, you can see that there's that top menu that I mentioned that Jay suggested. So those are the four main courses that I have on the site. So that was certainly something that he suggested. And you can see that the block up a little bit. You can see that the logo was changed, and then I really needed to fill in that big empty space. So I wanted to find some way to say what this site was about. So that's that whole banner piece was done, and I might also say that what you're seeing, the color scheme, my branding, is pretty much what it looked like on being your own CEO. So you probably wouldn't have recognized that it's all that much different. But a few things on the you can scroll down, Vivek. You can see that that front page. I created a new welcome video, which I was able to put there. And scrolling down, I became aware that I needed to change the order in which all these sections were done. And of course, I had to create some decent looking buttons and all of that. And of course, the theme allows you to do all of that. And there's each one of those buttons is linked to a page, etc. So so that was one of the first things that I needed to do was decide what that front page was going to look like. And so I think that for the business courses online, that visual that's there, that was the old landing page that had all 3 courses on it. But I needed to, and so I may need to go in and make a few changes here at some point. So I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any way you could ever go in and look at your website and say it's all done, because you can always see where you can make improvements. Yeah. And so down below here, you can see that all of those topics, those are the tags and categories. So if you were to click on any one of those, it doesn't matter which one, not reviews, because I don't have very many on there, but if you just click on one and you'll, Vivek, and you'll see what opens. So all those categories, every one of those would open a few pages that would give you what you want. So, yeah. So those are blog posts, obviously. So if you can go back to the front page, if you don't mind. Home page. Yeah. And scroll up. I just needed to point out a few things about the menu. So we're on the home page. If you click on the services page, you'll see that I have a section there that has all of the courses listed. And the next item, coaching and consulting. No, it's still there. Coaching and consulting, that goes to my business page. These are all my services. And then the next one, solo evaluation tool, allows you to go in and fill in a form that helps you evaluate where you are in your business. And then the last one, I think we looked in the resources last week. There's a whole list of resources for people to download. So so that's how I decided to put all of the services all in one place, so that the navigation is really easy. So now if you can go to the next item where it says success circles, again you can see that upcoming success circles is the page that allows that brings in the stuff out of Chipmunk. And yeah, so this part of this page I change every week to go along with the upcoming success circle. But you can see down the left hand side that allows a person to log in, put their name and their email and say that they would like to participate in the Success Circle. So that is done using a form, and it's all set up using the chipmunk that Vivek created for me. So, and also the calendar that is there, that is also handled by Chipmunk. So, it's pretty efficient, I find. And in terms of keeping it up to date, the only thing I have to do is go in and change the name and the title of the next one, and put in the new thumbnail, YouTube thumbnail, and put the links in, and it's done. So that's this page was pretty much done the same way on Being Your Own CEO. So Vivek, if you go back to Success Circles and click, let's see, Success Circle videos. Click on that and see what you get. This takes you to the last four, the four most recent. And so, and so that meant I deleted all of those previous Success Circle video posts. Then if you go to the next item over, if you click on that link is kind of interesting. So this one, I might explain a little bit about how this happened. I would during that conversation about should I keep all of those Success Circle posts that were there before. Jay suggested, even if somebody comes to your website and clicks on a YouTube, chances are they're not going to stay on your website. They're going to click and go over to YouTube itself. So it was his suggestion that I set up this page the way it is. So you can see that the instructions tell you, and this will take you to my playlist in YouTube. However, we decided to also, and I think it might have been Vivek suggested, you might like to create a direct link. So that's why the button is there as well. So there's two different ways to do that. So now a person is going to see the most recent one here, but if you want to see the previous ones, then you can do that. Yeah. So that was a suggestion that Jay said. A lot of people are not going to, if they're watching a video, they're not going to stay on your website. They're going to go over to YouTube and open it so they can open it up bigger. So now, if you scroll up a little bit, Vivek, and go to what's the last one under Success Circles? Oh yeah, that one is just instructions on, and it looks very similar to the upcoming one, except there's a video there that explains. So you can see on the left-hand side, you can still join, and then there's a video explains how it all works. Yeah. So then the next in the menu up there, if you look at posts, you can see that I have some different categories there. And if you just click post, you'll get all the most recent. But let's say you are interested in mindset, for example. If you just click on mindset, then you get a series of blog posts. So by using tags and categories, it allows you to set it up so that, especially if you've got a lot of them that I do, set it up in such a way that people can find things that are of interest to them. Okay, I think that's really all we need to say about that. And the about page, I just have an about page, and then I have a page that is well, okay, show the about page. This was one that I sort of pulled in a bunch of things out of the about page from LowellAnn.com and being your own CEO, and combined them in just did it in such a way that it was more important. Yeah. And I think you'll all agree that I go into a whole lot more detail on the about page than Jay ever recommends when he's doing his. He keeps his about pages for his affiliate sites pretty straightforward and simple. So, and then yeah, you can click on that one, Vivek, if you want. So here you can see this is a listing of testimonials that I received from previous clients that were business clients. But if you scroll up to the top, you can see these testimonials relate to business only. You will see all the others here. So then there's another page that has dozens more, because not all clients that I worked with were in business. So that was my way of making it appropriate to the fact that we're working with solopreneurs here. And so show the contact page. This is pretty much the same. Is pretty much the same as it was on being your own CEO. And now I want to say a little something about that red button you see on the side where it says send recording. This was something that we talked about quite a long time ago, where if a person wants to record a message or via video, or record a video and not just an audio, you can do that. So Vmail Blaze, do you remember Rodney Brace? We all I think he came. He was one of our guests maybe a year or two ago. So that's what this is about. My thinking is I would like to put another section on this page, just letting people explaining how that send video works. So that's an upgrade that I'm thinking of doing. Yeah. Yeah, and again, the other thing that you might like to be aware of is that this is something that Vivek has taught me how to do some time ago, and that is just using Google Forms as a contact page. So that's what you're seeing there. It's just a Google form. So again, you can do a contact forms. There are lots of plugins, but this was doing it a different way, so you don't need to use a plugin. So let's see, what else are we missing here? Oh, the Boost Me, that is something that I don't know who recommended this, but there are two items that where people can make a contribution. Buy me a coffee and PayPal, the PayPal me. There's two different ways that people can make a donation. So so that was kind of a fun thing to set up as well. And you can also see that right over on the extreme right of the menu, there is a search page, or a search button. And that allows you, now that white thing that tops up, if you were looking for something, you would type it in there, and that search would search the whole site and bring up whatever it is. So I think that's all we need to do, other than I wanted to show you, Vivek, you may need to open a different tab to do this. Oh, you found it. This is the anchor page. And so by just putting in to Keen and Pinterest and Google My Business, I can put in just the anchor, which is LowellAnn.com. I'm forgetting what the anchor looks like, but there's a link, and then if the person clicks on that link, it goes directly to the page where they can actually watch the video on there. And chances are, as Jay said, they won't stay there. They'll just go and watch it on YouTube. But by doing that, I get the Google juice that you get when people come and visit your site. So
they will be taken to one of these, as in they won't be brought to the top of this page.
Right.
Rather, they would be taken to the, let's say,
the one that the one they were looking for.
Let's say they clicked on artificial intelligence, and they will be shown this rather than something else.
Yeah.
So they can easily click on that and watch it, and hopefully explore what else is here on this page, and watch the others as well.
Yeah. Or get curious about what else is on this site. So, okay, I think that's what time is it? Oh my goodness. We have covered it all. Now, maybe I spent too much time going through the website itself, but after explaining all those steps that I did, I felt that you might appreciate being able to see what it looks like, what it all did. So any other questions that we did? From what we did? Yeah, Fred.
I wanted to ask if someone had a challenge of combining two websites and they didn't want to go through all the work that you did, what are the alternatives? What could they do?
Create a brand new one. Start from scratch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Can I help with that?
Yeah.
You can create a new one and copy the information from both websites that you want and bring it over
through a copy paste kind of procedure.
Yeah, copy and paste. I've done it where we've had I've never combined two, but I've done it where I've had older websites that the theme no longer functions, and they don't know what all's on there, and they don't know what to keep. And it was just easier to start a new website, clean up, use only the plugins that I needed to have, and copy and paste everything over. And that worked reasonably well, and I was able to do it in a reasonable amount of time, a week's amount of time. Now I was not. I was copying 100 blogs, but they were a lot easier and they were very short, and there was not a lot of problems. So yours was a lot more complicated, and I don't know if it would have worked any better to copy and paste.
But you see, I would have lost all of the comments that people left on the
true.
bottom of all of those blogs.
Yeah, that's very true.
The comments or the interaction you had with the visitors, that is one major thing. The other major thing is if you want to do a copy paste, text is easier to copy and paste. Images is a major hassle.
Well, I mean,
you can't simply copy from an image from one website and try to paste it on another. You have to download it, and then you have to upload it. It's
it's huge.
It's still not bad. I mean, it went very well with me. I mean, the site was not. It wasn't like a photographer site that I had, 200-300 photos that I had to do. I mean, there was usually just a featured image on the 100 blogs, and then there were, 4, maybe 5 images on each page. And I mean, I think we had 10 pages, maybe 12 pages. So it was fairly easy for me to do. But in that case, it was basically the only option I had, because trying to clean up the site would have really messed things up for them.
Yeah.
So, and they didn't have a lot of comments on their blogs. They were not the blogs weren't being very successful in that and what they were doing. So it wasn't too big of a deal to lose the comments and start over.
Yeah. And I mean, another item that I did not go into was those. Some of those images were there quite some time ago, and some of them I needed to change their. I had to compress them, and I did quite a bit of work around compressing and all of that. I'm probably not finished. I mean, there's probably a few in there that still need some work, but yeah. Anyway. But like I say, I'm looking back now, would I spend 4 months? I don't know. I mean, while I was doing that, the other two websites were still running the way they did. So that was the other advantage to doing it this way, is that the other two are just carried on. So.
But how much time was wasted in trying to first use all-in-one migration and then going to FTP
and all of that?
I know you lost at least a month.
Yeah.
And if you knew specifically that you put your domain in, your site or your info domain, and then you have Jay put it in, that would have been done, in less than a day or two.
Yeah.
I mean, you would have saved a lot of time. Doing it a second time, you probably could do it in half the time, couldn't you?
Yes, I probably could. But from that part, but the sort of checking everything and making sure all the links and all of that was really time consuming.
Yeah, and I know it was.
But in terms of working up an old website, really necessary to do.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, you needed to do that whether you were going to combine them or not. You were going to have to go through all of those and do that work anyway.
Yeah.
So.
I did that work several years ago, but it was time to do it all again. Yeah. So,
and in 2 or 3 years, guess what?
You're going to do it again. All right. So I'm looking at the time. Fred?
Yeah, I wanted to say I must go.
Oh, I wanted to give you the chance to give the last word, but if you must go.
Well, I'll just say that it was very impressive to see that if you don't mind, it was on your website. The old bat was able to do what you're able to do at your age. I think,
Never mind age.
but it's extremely impressive what you managed to do. So, with all of the technologies, the other thing is you also made a message that you cannot do things like this on your own. You had support team, you know, with
Absolutely.
you know, you mentioned the 3 people particularly that helped you a lot. So that was important. And the technologies were very impressive. And the website looks great. You know, it looks really, you know, clean and so on. So overall, it was very impressive to see what you managed to do. And it is a, you know, it's a very busy, well, not busy, website with lots of material. I mean, you know, what you said, 100 and something blogs and so many pages and courses. And I mean, this is not a simple website either. This is not just your run-of-the-mill website advertising one little thing. This is very complex. So it was very impressive what you managed to do, you and your team, so to speak.
Yes.
So that's what I
Well,
wanted to say.
thank you very much, Fred. And but before you go, I need to confirm. Are you on next week? Okay.
Yep.
So just before we close, I will remind everyone it's important to do what you love with passion, and to let you know that Fred is going to give us a little presentation next time about the history of Elon Musk. And boy, his name has popped up a few times in the news this week. So I'm looking forward to that. And having said that, I will do the outro, which is Alt 4.